Yeah.
6 or 7 a month is pretty freaking solid, bro. Bro, when I was 22, I was freaking in a frat house partying and not making any goddamn money. What is up, fam? This is Scorch the Fears, episode 80. We've done so many of these goddamn episodes. We have a return guest right now, Kevin Choe, Chaos Kevin. We had him on a long time ago. For the people on Instagram right now, I'm gonna pin this comment. You guys, if you want to actually watch the interview, come on to YouTube. If you're on Instagram, come onto YouTube and you'll actually get to hear Kevin talk about his story. Because I've had Kevin on before, actually. I had Kevin on like a year ago, year and a half ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, to
Yeah,
be honest.
it was about a year and 3 months ago.
Right. And you were in a completely different place, my man. I don't think you had done that many deals yet, it seemed like. And now you're just absolutely crushing it. You're in your own house currently that he just brought, subject to 3.3% interest, guys. He's living in it. How old are you? 22?
22.
22 years old, has his primary residence, has a pool. He just needs a girlfriend, and that's really easy at this point. Once you have your own place, dude, just throw a few sub-2 parties and meetups there. And I guarantee also invite the Bash Bros, and they'll hook you up. Because those
I
guys
don't know if that works.
definitely party.
I brought them over a couple of times. There's no fruition out of those two relationships.
Well, you got to tell them to bring girls too. Be like, get me laid. That's what you got to do. They're probably just coming by themselves. You got to be like, no. I need you to bring girls to my new house so I look sick. Right? That's how you get girls, Kevin. I'm just playing. But it's pretty dope. I just love watching the development. You've been hanging out so much with Pace too, which has been cool to watch as well. And I'm going to ask you about stuff like that. One more time, I'm going to tell Instagram, come on to YouTube if you actually want to hear Kevin Choe. If you just want to look at my pretty face, and stay on Instagram. So,
I'll stay on Instagram.
What?
I will stay on Instagram.
Or stay on Instagram if you just want to look at me, but that's kind of silly. So, Mr. Kevin Choe, catch us up a little bit on what's changed. What's been like, what was different between the last time you were on Scorch the Fears, like a year and 3 months ago, when you were, maybe you weren't struggling, but you were doing not nearly as good. I mean, how many deals are you doing a month now? 10?
Not 10. I counted today. I'm at deal 39 this year.
Okay, so that's
5,
6 or 7 averaging. That's
Yep.
still really good.
Yeah.
6 or 7 a month is pretty freaking solid, bro. And like, what's your average deal size?
Usually around 10.
Yeah, so 60 to 70K a month owning your own house as a 22-year-old. Bro, when I was 22, I was freaking in a frat house partying and not making any goddamn money, right? Like, not even, bro, being 22, owning your own primary residence, making 60 to 70K a month, that's like insane how dope your life is. I just got to say, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. I mean, because I remember my very first podcast that I did with you was, I think, March of last year. And that's like a month or two after I moved out of my parents' house. And when you first invited me on, I was like, oh, shit, I actually get to be on his podcast. And I was like super thrilled because I looked up to you. And I still look up to you still to this day, just because, you and I have a very similar business model. And a year and 3 months goes by, and, and we can get into this, the things that I've accomplished, later in the podcast. But now I'm in my primary residence that I just bought less than a week ago. Or, yeah, exactly a week ago. I moved in last Thursday, and today's Thursday. And then I bought 4 houses. Oh no, I'm in escrow to buy 5 houses sub 2. All of them are really good interest rate, and I'll cash flow all of those houses, at least $1,000 per house, because we do a lot of midterm rentals. And
love it.
I'm in a completely different spot, and I'm just so thrilled. I look back at the last 12 months or 18 months that I moved out of my parents' house, and this is a completely different spot. I didn't even think I would own my house. You know what I mean? and I'm just so excited to be where I'll be in the next 18 months. So things move so quick for me, way too quick.
Bro, it's a fun journey to watch. I know why Pace keeps you around, because it's so cool seeing someone your age crushing it. Go from in a year and a half, go from what were you making a year and a half ago? Really? What were you doing? A deal a month, maybe?
Not even that. I year and a half ago, I was still at my parents' house. I probably was doing like one deal every other month, and these
Right.
deals were like 3 grand. So maybe
Yeah,
thousands.
so maybe you were just barely making ends meet, and now you're freaking doing 6 to 7. You're making 60 to 70K a month. You're freaking crushing it, my man. That's awesome. And you're owning rentals now and stuff. Very soon, you're just gonna be richer than me or Pace or anybody, and it's gonna be sick to watch because you got one thing on all of us, everyone watching, because I know none of you guys are freaking 29, 22. Excuse my French. Probably most of you. And dude, there's a 50% chance these panels just fall down. I'm sorry, audience. This isn't actually a cool studio. It's just my house. And it's been heating up in Denver. So this panel on my lower right here, there's a 50% chance it falls over. But everyone who's watching right now is older than 22. I'm nearly 100% positive about it. And it is just so fun seeing somebody so young do it. So what changed? What things?
There you go. I knew it was happening.
It's gonna happen. I just knew it was gonna happen, and I'm gonna gorilla glue this stuff together, right? I'm ruining the ambiance of Scorch the Fears right now. But anyways, so what's changed? What about your business changed? What about you has changed to be able to accomplish all of this? Because you changed as a person too. I think you're way less timid than you used to be honest. So I've been watching you. I've been watching your content. And when we hang out in Phoenix, by the way, I'm going to be in Phoenix next week. So we should hang out if you're free or if you're there. Yeah, I'll come through to your house, bro. It'll be sick. But what's changed? What about you has changed? What about you and your business has changed? What made it where you went from doing like one deal every other month to 6 to 7 deals a month?
It's hard for me to pinpoint to one thing. But I think in terms of deal flow, and a lot of people will be curious about it, will be more intrigued about what changed my business is I started sharing a lot about what the strategies that I use. And Jonah, you probably can attest to it too. Ever since I started talking about the no equity list, this was probably back in October of last year, maybe September. And I spoke in a couple of Golden Stage events, and I wasn't and I went on a lot of Zooms teaching people how to do these, how to pull no equity lists and how to pitch stuff to and how to get under contract, how to sell these things. Ever since I started opening up my strategies, I started getting so many more JV opportunities that I more than I could really handle. Because right now, when I first was doing the no equity list off of PropStream, I'd be very confident to say like, it was a blue ocean. I never really had much competition. I would pitch stuff to and nobody was doing it. And then I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and share this list to everybody else so that everybody else can, benefit from it, And if I were to not share that list, I still probably be doing like one deal every month, probably maybe 2 deals on a good month. But ever since I started sharing this openly to all these people, I actually got all these deal flow came in because the people I started teaching, they will come to me and say, "Hey, Kevin, I have this lead, in Arizona, and the homeowner just bought the house. They have good interest rate, and they're trying to get out of it. And I don't know what to do." And so people would just start on top of what I was already doing. I was probably doing 1 or 2 deals a month. I started getting 3 or 4 deals a month from my JV model. And nice. Ever since I started doing that, I mean, we're halfway through the year and I'm at deal 39, and I would nowhere be close to deal 39 without, without teaching people how to do it, because, otherwise those JV deals wouldn't come to me. So one thing that really significantly changed my deal flow is just freely giving out the game and just kind of, hey, here's all the information you need. And there's times I lose deals where I compete with other substitutes and I end up not getting that deal, but that's very small in comparison to all the deals that I get because everybody comes to me. So
I absolutely love it, dude. That was the best answer possible, is giving it away freely, right? I mean, this is something that Pace taught us in the end, right? Pace taught us that giving away freely always comes back 10x, and it just does, right? I mean, I had my Zoom too, and that also got me a ton of JV leads, tons of opportunities. I hired several people from my Zooms. That's something you should think about. I feel like that's your next step. I feel on your journey. I know you probably have some employees. No, you do have some employees, but like, that's going to be like your next struggle with your success, right? I have a feeling is that, and we can talk about that stuff too, because that's what's hiring now is what gets you from the 60 to 70K level to the 100K, 200K level, right? Is doing that, right? But
Right.
besides the point, exactly. Go giving is the way to do it, right? I try to do Zooms in every single community that I'm a part of, basically. And so I just love to hear it, bro. I love to hear that that was the main difference. So are the vast majority of your new deals JV opportunities? Is it like you kind of got your traditional doing it your way, the agent way, and then a bunch of JV opportunities, or how's it been working so far in your business?
For me right now, it's JV, mostly JV. And I still get direct to seller deals. Like we got a deal closing today in Mesa, Arizona. That's a direct to seller for my team. I'm closing another deal in Goodyear, Arizona this week. That's a direct to seller. But I have like probably 4 or 5 other deals right now that's came from other sub two students. And sometimes all they need is help me they just come to me asking me, hey, Kevin, can you help me find a buyer for this sub two deal? And sometimes it's as simple as that. I just find buyers. I'm like,
I did that. I tried
yeah,
to do that with you. It didn't work for one of our deals, but it wasn't a great deal, so no worries.
yeah. So that's kind of that's kind of my business model, right? Like I do my own acquisitions, with my team, and then I have this full side of things where I sell deals for other students, and that alone, I'll say 20% of it is my team, and then the other 80% is just JV deals that I do with other sub two students, and that keeps me very busy too. I have because I'm running basically 2 different operations.
So what would you say is most of your operations? Is it more it's you said mostly JV. Is it dispoing other people's sub two deals basically?
Kind of a little bit of both. I would say they take just about the same amount of time, even though it's 20% is only my team. I have to be a little bit more hands-on. We're in charge of acquisitions and dispositions on this side of things. But then on the 80% of the deals that I do, I only focus on the disposition side. So I actually spend just 50-50 in terms of time. And that will probably make up 6 deals a month. Probably one to 2 deals with my team, and then the rest is other students just kind of helping them out.
I love it. I love it so much. So I really love it that you started Go Giving, and then that's really where you started seeing the difference was all the JV opportunities from sharing with people how to do your strategy. So I feel like your strategy also became really popular and really possible because of the interest rate hikes. Do you feel that's
Oh yes.
also a possibility? So
Uh-huh.
how did you find the strategy of doing the no equity sub two list? Can you quickly explain what it is to people?
Yes. So
Also on the Zoom, and that's right there. I won't over question you.
yeah. So this is a little story that I tell people. There was a girl named Diana. She brings me a lead in Yuma, Arizona, and the house address is 1188 South 9th Avenue. And the story goes, she comes to me saying, "Hey, the homeowner is actually there's a homeowner that wants to sell. It's a for sale by owner. I've been calling for sale by owner because it's cheap, it's easily accessible." And she goes to me and says, "Hey, I think the homeowner is open to doing a sell too because the homeowner is in a position where they have to come out of pocket to sell the house." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a very good motivation to even go after." So what I do is I hop on a phone call with Diana, and then I say merge the seller in. So I'm on the phone with Diana. She merges the seller, and his name is Seth. He goes, "Yeah, I just bought this house. We're going through some family situations where we have to sell this house right now. But the problem is, I just bought this house 3 months ago, and I put no money down because I'm a military and I put zero money down on the house." So he put zero money down on the house, and 3 months later he's in a position where he has to sell the house. So he basically made 3 mortgage payments, and and when you make 3 mortgage payments, you don't really pay down the house. most of the payments goes towards interest.
You've paid maybe $10 of principal or something like that. It's something insanely small.
Yeah, you don't basically you didn't pay any of the house down, but then that house was purchased back in that I did that deal back in July, but that house was bought in March or April, and you can look it up on public records. So what happened was they bought the house back in April when the rates were still low, but what happened between April and July was the rates almost went up. I think it almost doubled. I think because their rates was 2.8 or 2.9%, and the rates the going rate back in July of last year was probably 5.5% ish.
Yeah, but it went really high.
It went really high in such a short period of time. And what happens when the rates went down, when rates went up, was the house prices went down. So I think he bought the house at 280, and he has the house listed for 295, just to knowing that he's going to pay the buyer's agent commission. He knew he couldn't afford the listing agent commission, so he had the house listed where he was going to break even if he got a full price offer. So I took that exact same scenario, and I said, I imagine there's a lot of people in this situation where they bought the house less than a year ago or 2 years ago, and now they're in a position where they have to sell the house. So I said, how can I make this? So if I have this story, how can I turn it into a filter? So immediately then I went onto PropStream. I put up, and I was marketing in Maricopa County at that time. So I said Maricopa County, Arizona, and then I put up a house that was listed as on the market for sale, but the ownership was less than 2 years. And then when they bought the house, they bought it with a VA or FHA loan, because VA or FHA loan are personal individuals, not corporations. Because if you do corporations, you get a lot of fix and flips. So I put up in the house that's on the market for sale that has 2 years or less in terms of ownership, and then it was owned by an individual, and it was a VA loan or FHA loan. And I got a list of like 250 houses in Arizona, and I literally pulled up all the list, and then I start cold calling the agents off of that list. And the second phone call that I make is I call this guy named Robbie Holycross. That's the agent's name. He had a listing on East Southern Avenue, Unit 30 in Mesa, and I call him. I pitch him stuff too, and then he goes, "Yeah, my clients are in a position where they have to cut a check because they moved from Washington, but then they got a job offer back to Washington, so they already moved out, but they just have a vacant house." So and then that was the second house on the list. So I was like, I hit the gold pot, and I started hitting those lists, and I've been getting, and I was literally a blue ocean. No listing agents have heard about Sub2 at that point. And then that's kind of how the list came about.
So let's go through exactly what should the people do to be doing 6 to 7 deals, Kevin Choe. What's the criteria on the list? What should you be looking for? It's PropStream that you use, and how do you filter it? Do you still do 2 years? Let's go through the exact filters, and I'm going to put it in the comments as well.
Perfect. So this is so number one, pick a market. So for me, it was Maricopa County. You could do Dallas, Fort Worth, Jacksonville, Tampa, whatever the market you want. And then the list that you put in is, okay, what kind of house do you want to go after? Do you want to go after single family houses? Do you want to go after condos? Do you want to go after multifamily? Personally, what I do and what I have been going after is single family houses and townhouses. And you can put those filters up on PropStream. And I would also on PropStream, I would go after vacant land, because they
why townhouses? Why single family? Why land?
Because single family and townhouses, a lot of people are comfortable with. So a lot of people are already doing, they're already wholesaling single family townhouses. So a lot of people are comfortable with it. And the reason why I add the vacant land is because they tend to be new build. But on PropStream, it's still.
Wait, sorry, who's comfortable with what?
A lot of the buyers, a lot of the people that,
So we're talking about wholesaling these Sub2 deals because people are comfortable with single families as rentals usually. Are most of these people keeping them as rentals, I would assume?
Yeah, most people are taking on single family houses rather than like 5-unit building right off the bat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, there's another thing there too, is if you start getting to 5 units, you start getting into commercial.
Yeah.
The debt is way shiznazier, I will say. I'll use that word. it's way worse. The debt is a lot of times variable. It's also much more, the lenders are more involved than in single family residences. So definitely that's why a 5-unit doesn't work as well with this strategy as at least residential multifamily.
Right.
For sure. So
So
anyway, sorry, keep going. So type of house.
yeah. So I go after single family house, townhouses, and vacant land because vacant land tends to be, you built. And on top of that, I'll say owned by an individual because personally, I want a house I want to work with directly with individuals, not with the company. It's just easier to work with. And then I want to make sure I want to make sure what the loan type is. So you want to put you want to put in the loan type. Do you want to go after FHA loan, VA, and conventional loans? So I have 3 different loans, right? VA, FHA, conventional. I would group the first two, so VA and FHA are together on the filter, and then conventional is a separate filter. So on the VA and FHA loan, I will put, the reason why I go after them is because you can typically get into a VA loan, FHA loan at 0 to 3.5% down. And when they move out of the house, they're in a position where they don't have much equity. So that's a good list of, that's a good motivation to go after.
Gotcha. So do you ever do conventional ever?
I do, yes.
So sometimes you will filter conventional, or is it more just brought to you, or do you just start with FHA and VA and then later you'll do another list with conventional?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And I have.
I'm taking notes, by the way. I don't know if you know this, because my dad, I'm having my dad do your strategy. I'm like, go watch Kevin's Zooms in the sub 2 vault. My dad's going to do your strategy, and then I'm going to buy the houses.
Love it.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. So VA and FHA is together, and then I add on conventional loans. I put 10% or less equity. So, because conventional loans can vary, you can put 50% down, or you can put as little as 5% down. So for me, I add a little bit of filter and say, okay, the home is there's 5%, there's 10% or less in equity, because the cost of selling a house is usually
Gotcha
8 to 9%. And then I have been doing 2 years or less in terms of ownership, but now what I start to realize is when I do those 2 years or less in ownership, the last 12 months is when the rates were very low, when the rates are high.
Yeah, and now that doesn't work as well.
So what I do is between year 2 and 3. So I skip if there's 1, 2, 3, I skip the first first year, and I go 2 and 3 years, because that's when the rates are still low. So that's my filter, and you will get a list of probably 200, 300, 400 depending on the market, and we literally go after the same.
So you're doing off market?
On market.
So is that another filter that all of these are on market?
Oh, yes, on market. I forgot.
No worries. I just want to double check. I want to make sure I got the sauce for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. So those are all the filters, and you're going to put this into prop stream, right?
Yep.
I'm just recapping. Pick a market. Obviously, do it in whatever market you want to own properties in, or wholesale properties in, wholesale lease sub 2 deals. What type of house? SFR, condos, multifamily. Kevin likes townhouses. I want my dad to do multifamily because I want to own rentals, and I actually like the idea of having tons of units in one place instead of a single family, right? So I'm having my dad do multifamily, guys. Owned by an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Loan type FHA, VA. If you do a separate list with conventional where it has to be 10% or less equity, and then you skip the last year because it's all been trash interest rates, right. And you go year 2 or 3 in the past, mm-hmm. and on market, and you filter all of this in prop stream. You use prop stream.
100%.
Gotcha. Love it, bro. And then how many houses? Because that's a pretty niche list. So do you run out of houses eventually? How do you deal with the fact, because 200 you could probably hit? Maybe I'm wrong. You could eventually hit all of those, and then what do you do?
So we that's why we open up multiple markets, right? Because 200, if you have I personally don't like having a VA run through such a niche list like that. But what I do is I open up multiple markets. So I open up, and not just talking about Maricopa County. We're not talking about all the counties in Texas.
Right, that's one county.
Yeah, just DFW alone. There's just a Metro DFW alone. There's probably 13 different counties. you look at Houston alone, there's probably 7, 8 different counties. So we're opening up multiple markets so we can accommodate. We're not focusing on such small lists, and we run out of it. So we just kind of because we want to have a bigger data, we go after bigger markets.
Gotcha. So what markets are you in right now?
Right now we are in Arizona, Texas, Florida, and Vegas.
Love it. Love it. You should hit me up with the Florida ones and some of the Arizona ones. I might be your buyer for those. I want to own houses there. But I love it so much. I'm going to have my dad do that tonight. Literally, I'm going to have him watch this video and have him do that tonight. Oh, he's watching right now. My dad's on here. So there you go. There you go. Mark Korchin, everybody. That's my dad. So he's going to be doing it. He's going to be doing your strategy. I've been having him just go on Zillow and look and just be like, find anything that's selling less than 10%, right? Now, that might not work nearly as well as yours.
10% of what?
Equity. So they bought it. I do my filter so far. Here's how I've been doing it. And it's a much more general, and it probably will work less well than you. Is I've just been having him go on Zillow, because this is a free way, is go on Zillow, just find houses or find different types of properties where it's sold earlier than May of 2022. That's when the interest rates got hiked.
Okay.
And they're selling within 10% of what they bought it for, basically. That's what I've been doing. We have just started. He's just been creating a list. It's a very manual way of doing it. Yours is a much more automatic process way of doing it. I might have him do both and see which one works better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Will be dope to see either way.
I have a question. So so you're saying if the homeowner bought the house for $300,000 and it's listed for $270,000.
$320,000. Yeah, if they listing it below it or listing it within 10%.
Okay, yeah. But what if the house was bought in cash? Like, you still go after it, right? Because you don't know the underlying debt behind it.
Basically, we would find out what the underlying debt is, and then we'd be like, oh, well, never mind.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's my idea. Yours is probably better. We are just starting, right? He's going to experience different problems, and we're going to figure out what's going to happen. Yours with the prop stream way is probably better, but I don't know. I just wanted to try it out. I was just like, all right, let's just start doing things, right? Because I'll be honest, I haven't been able to watch your course because I'm too busy running my business, right? But maybe I'll have my dad do it and just do your method in Colorado Springs, and that's where I want to buy properties, right?
Yeah.
So,
and mind you, this house that I'm living in right now, it came from that list.
Yeah, literally, dude. It's pretty amazing how young you are and how you're crushing it. I just love it. Cool, bro. Love you. You're a beast. Thank you, everyone who came on today. You guys freaking crushed it for Kevin. There was a moment you were almost beat Pace for a second. You were at like 27. Pace with the max Pace got to was 31. So you almost were the most. Almost, no, not quite.
Pace will always be in front of me. So
that's not true, dude. Here's the thing that you and I have on Pace. We have time. Pace started when he was, how old is he now? He's 39.
He's 40.
He's 40. He started when he was like 32. I started when I was 25. You started when you were 19. Time is the most valuable asset, and we will always have that on him.
Right.
And so just realize there will be a time when you and me both become greater than Pace at some point. We keep doing this as long as he does, right? So, anywho, I gotta end this. I love you, bro. You're sick. I'll see you Tuesday. Everybody else, next week we got Aston Zabek, I think is his last name. He's a pretty cool dude, pretty popular guy. Scorched the Fears is going to be on Wednesday, not Thursday next week. It'll be 5 p.m. PST. Kevin, thank you so much. Everyone who came on, thank you so much. This is Scorched the Fears. Let's freaking go!